This is Ocean Robbins, and in just a few minutes, we're going to begin today's Whole Life Action Hour. I'm going to be joined today by our special guest, Ken Cook. We're going to focus on useful strategies to protect you and your family from hidden toxins. We host an action hour every month, usually on the first Saturday of that month, and these action hours are projects of Whole Life Club, Food Revolution Network's membership community. Whole Life members get premium access to these events, including the chance to submit questions in advance and access to the recordings, the transcripts, and follow-up action checklists. If you're not a member yet, you'll find details on this page so you can learn more and join in. This month's theme in Whole Life Club is toxins and food safety, and we are going to be joined today for an action hour on that very theme with Environmental Working Group founding president, Ken Cook. I want to be very clear here. Nothing about this event constitutes or in any way replaces the need for medical advice. We're offering education and our own best insights, but please use common sense. And remember, always consult a proper healthcare professional for any advice about treatment or response to any specific medical condition or situation. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Whole Life Action Hour, as we explore how you can take action to heal your body and your planet with food. I'm Ocean Robbins, co-founder and CEO of Food Revolution Network. Our focus today is useful strategies to protect you and your family from hidden toxins. And we're joined by Ken Cook, so let me introduce him now. Ken Cook is the president and co-founder of Environmental Working Group, also known as EWG. He is widely recognized as one of the environmental community's most prominent and effective critics of industrial agriculture, U.S. farm policy, and the government's broken approach to protecting families and children from toxic substances. Under Ken's leadership, EWG has had many breakthrough innovations, like the creation of easy-to-use online consumer databases to analyze toxic pollution in people, in tap water, and in harmful ingredients in cosmetics. Ken is one of the world's foremost experts on how chemicals and toxins impact health and the environment. He focuses on the science and he helps you put it to use to get positive results in your life. Ken, thanks so much for being here and taking the time to share your wisdom with all of us today.
Ocean, always a pleasure. It's a great opportunity for me, and I'm thrilled with your work across the board. But this is really a special opportunity for me. So thanks.
Well, thank you. We're thrilled you're here. And speaking to all our participants, we're thrilled you are here too. You know, I think that one of the most precious resources there is your time and your attention. And by trusting us with it now, we are honored and truly indebted, and we want to use it well. So in this action hour, I'm going to be asking Ken some questions that are on a lot of our minds, and I'm going to share some specific questions that have been submitted by Whole Life Club members in advance of the interview. When we complete our time with Ken, I will introduce you to Whole Life Club, and if you're not already a member, I encourage you to stay on with us for that time so you can learn all about it and what could be in it for you should you be inspired to join us today. And if you're so eager you can't wait, or you're curious but know you're going to have to leave early, there is a button on the broadcast page to learn more about it anytime. Throughout this event, I want to encourage you to make use of the comments area at the bottom of the page. We've got staff to moderate, and if you hear anything that's especially inspiring for you during this action hour, anything you want to remember or highlight, I want to encourage you to share that in the comments area as well so everyone else can see it. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Say your name and one thing you're hoping to learn today. So jumping right in here. Ken, some of the chemicals in our food in our homes may contribute to cancer, to Alzheimer's, to obesity, thyroid and hormone issues, and other health conditions. And yet a lot of these chemicals are used pretty routinely in everyday life. What do you think are some of the most problematic toxins that we practically swim in, that are all around us, and that most people don't realize might be damaging?
Well, it's a great question, and we get it a lot at EWG. We do our best to try and find out what those are and steer you away from them. So let me just start by giving you kind of some blanket advice. We're in an era where we're learning so much from the science side about the toxic effects of these chemicals. And there is an enormous lag between what we learn about chemicals, even at very low levels, and how harmful they can be alone and in combination. A big gap between what we know as the science community explores these questions and how these chemicals are regulated for use in food packaging, how they occur in drinking water, in our air, consumer products in the home, and so forth and so on. So regulation and policy have not, and here's the bad news, will not catch up to the science. In a time that's relevant to you, the consumer, you want to know today. You want to know when you're shopping. You want to know when you're cleaning your home, refurbishing it, repairing it. All the things you do in everyday life bring you into contact with chemicals that we know we have reason to be worried about, and that the government is not protecting us from, and probably won't. So my first bit of advice for you is think through exposure avoidance first, as opposed to understanding all of the science and the risk that might be entailed with a chemical that's in your world. Risk is a complicated topic. It's kind of a mathematical equation. You look at the hazardous properties of a chemical. Sometimes we understand them well, sometimes not. You then sort of factor in exposure, and that gives you risk. That's the traditional way the government looks at it. But I'm here to tell you, government does a poor job of predicting the chemical hazard profile. We don't have the information we need. Good example, endocrine disruptors, chemicals that mess with our hormones, our immune system. Those chemicals frequently are poorly studied, and they're never regulated. So you start with something that's problematic there. Secondly, exposure. Am I exposed? Is it in my air, water, food? Is it in my body? There also, the government often falls way short. And then finally, when the pressure is really on, industry weighs in. And lo and behold, the government concludes there's very little risk, or so little risk you don't have to worry about it. So just go on living with these exposures. We advise the opposite. We advise people to be aware of the many opportunities that are growing every day to lead the life you want to lead. You don't have to move to a mountain meadow and live in a yurt without electricity, although not a bad idea if you can manage it. But
my parents practically did that when I was growing up.
Exactly. No, I don't want to say don't try that, but for most people, probably not very practical.
Right.
And as that's the case, you want to be able to find choices that make a difference. So to your question, what should we be worried about? We should be worried about the chemicals that we come in contact with in the everyday wilderness of our lives, the unexplored area that has all kinds of worrisome components to it. Pesticides in food, plasticizers in food packaging, and in other consumer products that we come in contact with. Chemicals in drinking water. We do a pretty good job. It's as thorough as we can be with the current information telling you what's in your tap water. You can go to our database, the National Tap Water Database, and look it up. Personal care products, go to Skin Deep. We'll tell you what's in your products there. Go to the Dirty Dozen, the Shopper's Guide to Pesticides in Produce. We just updated that with the latest government information. And that will give you a pretty clear idea, not just of which foods, personal care products, packaged goods might have chemicals in them, but how you can avoid them, what your options are. I'll give you one final example. We just did an analysis of an aspect of organic food that a lot of people aren't aware of, even experts in many cases. We looked at the requirements for not pesticides, but food additives in organic versus food additives in conventional. And a couple of things jump out. One, there are really only a few dozen additives that are allowed in organic versus thousands that are allowed in conventional. Two, in the organic system, ingredient safety and sustainability concerns have to be reviewed every 5 years for those ingredients to be allowed for continued use in organic. In conventional, companies can basically self-certify the safety of an ingredient, put it in practically anything, and there's no review in any timely fashion by the FDA. So just by shopping organically, and again, you can of course, you can eat in an unhealthy manner on only organic food. I'm not saying from a nutritional standpoint you don't need to still be smart, but in terms of the additives, if you just wanted to stop playing whack-a-mole, stop worrying about the sketchy ingredient du jour, probably brought to you by EWG, I must admit. If you want to avoid those things, just buy organic. We can't all find it or afford it in every category. I recognize that. But if you do that, this is another way you're just going to avoid exposure to chemicals that you don't even have to learn the names of.
Yeah.
It just won't be in your food.
Let me make a distinction here between, we're not talking right now, in case anyone's confused, about how food is grown. We're talking about what's done after it's grown and what it's combined with. And there are over 2,000 chemicals in the food supply in widespread use. We're talking about emulsifiers, preservatives, flavorings, colorings, additives of all different kinds. Some of them are so cheap, they're literally added because they give more body to the food and they make it cheaper per pound to deliver to the consumer. Some make it taste different or look different or whatever. And these, most of them have never been tested for their long-term impact on human beings. And I think what you're saying, Ken, is that when food is certified organic, a lot of these things are banned. But let me make a distinction here between organic ingredients and an actual organic product. And can you clarify for the consumer who might be confused about this, some products contain organically grown corn or organically grown wheat or whatever, but they could still have other stuff, and it's not actually an organic product. It's just got organic ingredients. What's the regulation around this?
I'm talking about the products that are themselves certified organic.
Yeah.
And there are some instances where a product can use some non-organic components and still be certified. Under the system, there are some 50 plus additives that are allowed in organic, so you should be aware of those. We're not trying to. In fact, we're pointing those out. We list them in our most recent report. We call organic the original clean food.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are times where, somewhat deceptively, companies underscore the organic ingredient that is used in their product without making it clear that the overall product doesn't meet organic certification standards. So that's an important point. It's a continuum, right? You want to always take a look at labels for nutrition, if for no other reason in the context of food. But also because of the issue that you raised, Ocean, there could be other ingredients in there. Maybe you have a known allergic response to them. And organic food can be, can have gluten in it, and maybe that doesn't suit you. So it's just a way of saying that step by step, and they aren't impossible steps. They're quite accessible, doable steps. You can reduce exposure to a lot of the chemicals that we otherwise worry about. Not 100%, but you can make great strides. And, to be honest, a lot of people come to EWG and they basically say, look, I understand that you're rating all the bad products and pointing those things out, but what's the good stuff? I'm kind of busy.
Right.
I want to worry about staying in NATO or student loans or the meltdown in Washington. I want to spend all my time on that. Right. And not on food. So we try and provide some tips for people to get the healthy nutrition, the healthy cleaning, the healthy personal care and hygiene that they want, without them having to get a PhD in toxicology.
Right, totally. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And my children, thank you too. A lot of children, thank you. Truthfully, because you are not only educating the consumer, but I think you're helping to hold companies accountable and to a certain extent even hold government accountable, because when consumers are informed and when we put our information into action, then we actually change the marketplace.
Well, I'm going to tell my 10-year-old Ocean that you specially pointed out that he should thank me. Doesn't always just trip off of his tongue to do that. You've got kids, so you know what I mean. But thank you.
I do. It was hilarious recently because our kids watched some YouTube video about somebody talking about, the state of the world, and they were like so excited. And I was like, well, that's what I've been telling you for years, guys. And they're like, no, it's real because we saw it on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. It's enough for you to
Not just our dad.
What's the point of you telling us, Dad? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump to another topic, which you touched on very briefly, which is plastics. Now, there's a lot of plastics. Can you tell us what is plastic? What's the impact? How much of it are we producing? What's the impact of that on our environment? And what's the impact of that on our health?
It's really an issue that I commend my colleagues at the Plastic Pollution Coalition. We're proud founding members of it. So much advocacy now around this issue, and it's really important. Plastics have really become a central focus now of the environmental movement. You almost wonder, since some of us watched The Graduate in real time when it was in theaters. Some of us, I'm not saying I did, but I did have a date that night. And when in The Graduate, the secret is passed on to the protagonist that he should get into plastics. From then on, we really should have had our radar on. Listen, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of tons of plastic are produced every year for all kinds of purposes. Not all plastic is the same, but the burden of plastic on the environment, the burden of microplastics that we now know break down into very small particles but don't entirely disappear and end up in fish, in other animals, end up in us, end up in our other foods. We know that this is a scourge that has to be dealt with, and it means completely remaking not just the consumer economy, although I would put that first because we tend to see that when we see litter or trash or what have you. One of the top food companies pointed out that he's realized that his company produces branded trash.
Right.
Right. And it's true. We worry about the chemicals that are in it, the phthalates, the softeners, the plasticizers. Some harden plastic, some soften it. We like BPA, which is a hardening agent in plastic. Phthalate softens it. Some of those chemicals, the underlying chemicals in the polymer itself, and then the tiny particles that can actually, for example, in the ocean and in rivers and streams, can form an anchor for all kinds of toxic chemicals that adhere to them. So we have a big problem ahead of us. I wish I could say that in my family we're doing all we could do to cut back on single-use plastic, but we are focused on it now, whether it's straws or things we purchase at the grocery store. It's a big campaign. Just the other day, a second state, New York, stepped up and decided to get rid of plastic bags for grocery store use, just like California did.
I live in California, as do you, and we don't see plastic bags in grocery stores anymore.
Yeah.
And we have to pay, by law, we have to pay for paper bags.
That's right.
It really encourages the consumer to bring in their own.
Yeah, we still have plastic bags in the produce department, but it's just some of this is behavioral changes that we're going to have to take on as individuals, because the system is not going to catch up in time for us to exercise our personal responsibility to reduce our contribution to the trash pile of plastic and the scourge in the environment.
Well, let's get practical about plastic for a second. Talk about consumer solutions. In our family, when I was researching my new book, 31-Day Food Revolution, I was just stunned by the impact of plastics and the dangers of them. And food storage was one of the places it showed up, where we have leftovers, and especially tomato products, for example, when they're very acidic and they can really eat away at the plastic. But putting any plastic in a dishwasher can release toxins that are then there for the food to absorb the next time it goes in there. Any sun exposure, any hot foods. Frankly, I just realized this is a hazard in our kitchen, and I don't want our food stored in it. So we got rid of all of our plastic food storage containers, and we use glass with plastic lids. And the
Yeah.
nice thing is you can see inside there really nicely in the fridge, so food doesn't go bad, it's sitting there as a mystery. I don't mind a plastic lid because it's just getting a little condensation, but it's not really sitting with the food all day long.
Right.
And then when I'm going out on the road, I have one of these. This is like a metal stainless steel food storage container, and it's got a silicone sealing lid and clamps that go down on it, and it's waterproof.
Yeah.
And so that's what I take when I'm like taking my lunch out on the road or going on a trip or something. And those two devices are not that expensive, and now we're pretty much plastic free in terms of food storage. And then I look at, I'll be honest with you, probably our biggest weak link in the chain is going to be plastic bags still for like produce or bulk foods. Yeah. And, when we get home, we stick our bulk foods in glass jars, and that's how we store them. But certainly I use, and we try to reuse our plastic bags so that we're not contributing to the landfill issue. But we're still putting our broccoli in plastic and stuff like that. And if you put it in paper, it kind of dries out in the fridge unless you got a produce section, and then you don't necessarily need to do that. So I'm curious if you found any solutions to plastic bags.
Those are all good ones, and we've been working our way to all of them. The other thing for produce bags is you can buy fabric produce bags if you remember to take them to the store. I mean, I'm sure we're all guilty of showing up at the cashier and realizing all of our bags for storing our food are conveniently located in the parking lot in the trunk of our car. So I just say, just put it back in the cart. I'll take it out. I'll unload it I'll bag it myself at the car. Right. But it's the same. It's these behavioral cues. A lot of food stores now, they're making money by selling in the produce department, fabric bags of various kinds that you can buy on the spot, put the produce in there or if you forget to bring it. I confess I haven't always made that transition. I just bought some loose leaf organic lettuce last night at the store, hurrying home to make dinner. And of course, I used a disposable plastic bag. We try and make reuse of it. We have 2 dogs. And so without trying to go into great detail, I can tell you that sometimes plastic bags come in very handy in the yard. But still, it's a scourge. And this is going to require some reprogramming of the economy. I think food companies, personal care product companies, others, if they're into the sustainability ethos at all, and more of them are, I'm happy to say, from your work, our work, the work of so many other people, they are really trying to invent a new supply chain, a new delivery system for almost every category of product. I have to hope that private sector action, combined with cracking down at the policy level wherever we can against opposition from industry, will get us along the way. But we still have big questions about packaged food you buy at the store, frozen foods, all manner of things where there's a plastic bag at the end of it. And that's where I think we, EWG sees part of our role is in, beginning to engage on that issue, as we have with industries that make, cleaning products, personal care products, the organic industry for food. We want to support the companies that are trying to do the right thing. Are they perfect? No, but I just admitted I'm not. My family's not. We're all on a journey. And so I think you shouldn't beat yourself up too much about the things you're not getting done. Just, over time, add them to the list and realize that there are a lot of companies out there who mean to do the same thing, but they have infrastructure built around the old way of operating, and it can take a while to work through that. But yeah, you're right. I love your tips. We've tried to do that too, and it makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Yeah. And then I want to ask you one more thing about plastics.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about, there are different plastic number 1, number 2, number 5, number 7. There's usually a number for recycling purposes on the plastic packages.
Correct.
And then plastic bags are not actually given a number at all.
Right.
Do you think that some of these are more dangerous than others? And for example, plastic number 1, which is often used for water bottles, I'm assuming is probably more inert than some of the others. But what's your take?
Well, I hope so too. I want to believe that. We try and use stainless steel when we're using water away from home instead of buying a bottle
Yeah,
of
us
water.
too.
Although please buy that bottle of water instead of a bottle of Coke, for all the reasons this audience will know. We tried some years ago to try and understand from the FDA what chemicals were allowed in bottles that were used for water. And to be honest, we didn't get a very convincing response back from the FDA. We did some water bottle testing, but it was confounded by the fact that hundreds of ingredients were allowed for use in the plastic and water bottles. And when we did testing, it was really hard for us to tell the laboratories which ones to test for. We couldn't afford to have them test for absolutely everything. And so the tests were not very satisfying from our standpoint as a consumer watchdog that does this kind of thing routinely. So, the underlying problem here is the approval process at the FDA, not just for what they call food contact materials or chemicals, like the things that are in plastic bags or in popcorn bags or fast food bags, whatever, but also, the ingredients themselves. FDA primarily is devoted to the regulation. It's the Food and Drug Administration, but drug and medical devices absorb almost all of the budget. They're really underfunded and understaffed when it comes to food and cosmetic safety, the other two topics that are under the so-called organic law, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. Those are the weak performers in FDA because they just don't have the staff. So we're working now to try and get a campaign up and running that would focus on food additives and modernizing our decrepit system for regulating them and evaluating them. And we want to add food packaging to that as soon as possible. Meanwhile, go with glass, go with stainless. If you're using, if you are using plastic at home for food, try and stay away from acidic foods. Don't ever put hot food in there. Wash these by hand, then rinse them out. If you do put them in the dishwater, rinse them before you use them. I'm not guaranteeing that this will remove all of the food contact chemicals. It's just steps that we know are more likely in terms of the chemical reactions. Getting away from acidic and hot foods against plastic is smart, and never microwave with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So let me shift to another topic you've studied a lot, which is pesticides and pesticides in food. Now, I'm sure our audience doesn't need another lecture in why pesticides can be dangerous.
Correct. Good.
But we know that we call them pesticides as if all they do is kill pests. But the reality is they're biocides, they kill life, and we try to aim them rather inaccurately at certain forms of life, which we might call pests. But any of these chemicals consumed in sufficient quantity can be toxic to humans, if not lethal.
Yeah.
And, we know that life expectancy for farm workers is lower because they have epidemic rates of cancer because they're in the field spraying this stuff. There's the old, story about the canary in the coal mine. It doesn't take a coal miner to realize that if pesticides are killing farm workers, they're probably not good for the rest of us. And you have done extraordinary work analyzing with your team pesticide contamination in different foods. And you've come up with the dirty dozen most pesticide contaminated foods and the clean 15 that are less pesticide contaminated. And one of the things I think this does that's empowering to the consumer is for those of us who can't afford perhaps to go organic with everything, we can pick and choose and focus on going organic with the things where maybe it matters the most. Now, I don't know about you. You may have memorized these, but I haven't, despite reading them a lot of times. So I look for kind of guiding principles when I'm in the store to help me kind of remember. And it seems like foods that have a shell that you don't eat, like an avocado or a melon, those are generally going to be in the clean 15 because, or even a mango, the inside is relatively protected. Would you say that's true? And are there any kind of guiding principles we can look for?
It is. It's even I do this because I can't remember, and the list changes a little bit from year to year. There's some There are some, perennial winners who end up on the dirty dozen list, like strawberries. But we added a new one this year, kale, which came up with worrisome levels of some pesticides in the USDA tests that we use to develop our Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. And so I just, download our app or go online and, print off our list. A lot of the news coverage. There were hundreds of stories a couple weeks ago when we released this year's Shopper's Guide to Pesticides and Produce. So you don't have to tax your brain too much. Just use our guide. But yeah, fruits and vegetables that are in the field for a while that have a soft exterior. Strawberries, perfect example. Berries generally. If pesticides are used later on in the growing season, they tend to absorb. It's also true that our Dirty Dozen guide is based on fruits and vegetables that have been peeled and washed as if for consumption. So pesticides still show up because it penetrates the flesh. They're designed to do that. Certain insecticides, just so that when the bug eats it, it will die. Unfortunately, we're then eating it too. So yeah. That would, I think just shop with the guide as one way to go about solving that problem. And just then there's these issues where it's really, really hard. There are certain foods that we don't have good test data for. So we've had to go out and do our own testing. One of them that we did this past year, several rounds of testing and more to come, is for Roundup, or the active ingredient of Roundup, made by Monsanto, of course, which is called glyphosate. This is, unfortunate but true. Glyphosate is, of course, used on crops that have been genetically engineered to resist its plant-killing effects. Corn, soybeans, cotton, certain other crops. But those are the big ones in terms of acreage and prevalence in the food supply. But then it turns out that some farmers use this weed killer on the crops themselves at the end of the season or near harvest, so that they help dry out the crops, dehydrate them, as it were, and then make the harvesting process a little more uniform and easier to predict. And before the rains come in many parts of the country for oats and dry edible beans and other foods, you want to get it out of the ground or off the field and into the marketing channel. So they spray it. And when you do it that late in the season, it ends up on the grain. And so we tested oatmeal and Cheerios and other products that have oats in them. And we determined that probably one of the main sources of dietary exposure to glyphosate, and just about everyone in the population has glyphosate in their bodies now, that may well come mostly from oats, not the crops like corn and soybeans and cotton that have been genetically engineered to tolerate Roundup. So these kinds of discoveries, they're dismaying. Consumers have responded very well. There's a lot of pressure now, especially on the larger companies, to stop buying oats that have been treated at the end of the season, right before harvest, with this weed killer. And you're right, Monsanto says, well, this weed killer doesn't operate on human beings the same way it operates on plants. Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean that when it's, humans are exposed to it, it isn't causing other problems. The two verdicts we've just seen in the last few months out of San Francisco, one in state court, one in federal, demonstrated that juries felt that Roundup contributed to the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma of two gentlemen who were using it, one in their yards and their property, and the other as a school groundskeeper for years. Yeah. So they were actually exposed more, maybe, than the farmers who use it in a tractor with an enclosed, cab. And so here we're seeing yet another way in which let's just get out of this kind of chemistry, because let's say you're right when you argue as a proponent of pesticides that they have an important place in the world. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that's correct. Those places do not include inside human beings. There's never a good time to have pesticides in people. Yeah. So we need to re-engineer the whole system And we can, through smart shopping, do this one by one for ourselves and our family. We need to, re-engineer the system and shop in a way that keeps those exposures from happening while Washington and EPA and science makes up its mind. Lord knows how long that might take to get a regulatory decision, right? It takes decades sometimes for this to happen because the industry's in there fighting every step of the way. So avoid these exposures, use the shopper's guide. There are other tools out there. Consumer Reports has a version on their website. Just very smart to avoid those exposures. Look at our updates, join up for us. And I know that Food Revolution is right on top of all of this, as you always are. So you can't get better advice, in my view, than to join your organization and participate.
Thanks for that, Ken. There's so much you just said that I wanted to respond to. First of all, in terms of the use of glyphosate Roundup as a desiccant to dry out crops before harvest, this is something a lot of people are not aware of, and it can be kind of overwhelming because the belief until now has been that if you just avoid the main GMO crops, corn, soy, canola, cotton, sugar beets, then and go organic or certified non-GMO with those crops, then you'll be protected from glyphosate. And now the truth is that's not true anymore.
That's not true.
You also have to look at your wheat, your cereal crops, your legumes, really all of the dry crops could be.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so what this means is you want to go organic with those crops, just to be really direct about it, with wheat, oats in particular, and beans.
Yeah.
And the good news is those aren't terribly expensive to buy organically grown. And so that's just a place where it really, really matters. And I just want to underline that. And for those people who may feel a little bit terrified by what we just heard, organic is your protection in those crops. Now, and we did just see very recently, a couple of major lawsuits, $80 million roughly awarded to each of two plaintiffs from Monsanto, now Bayer. I found that fascinating because it seems that in both cases, there was personal injury around 5 million or so. And in both cases, what the juries were, the bulk of the money was punitive damages. And my understanding of this is that the juries were essentially saying that Monsanto Bayer had culpability for lying about the safety of its products, and that these people were exposed to hazards without their knowledge because the company lied about it. Is that your understanding as well?
That's exactly right. And in this most recent case, the judge insisted first that the jury determine that Roundup did contribute in some substantial way to the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma of the plaintiff. They made that decision in phase 1 of the trial. That was a big blow to Bayer, to Monsanto, especially because that particular plaintiff had a confounding health problem. He had a form of hepatitis that is often a predictor, a precursor of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But the jury said, even given that, we think that Roundup caused his health problem. And then in the second phase, the jury was asked to consider how Monsanto comported itself, how the company handled itself with the information it had available. The company says we did all the right tests, we were open with everybody. The record shows something very different. Lots of evidence over the years that Monsanto had good reason to believe that Roundup as the formulated product and also glyphosate, just the active ingredient, both posed specific health risks. And really fascinating, the full product in some ways seems to be more toxic than the active ingredient. The surfactants that are used, so that when Roundup is sprayed on a plant, it adheres to the leaf so that it can then penetrate and kill. Yeah. That same surfactant technology in the hands of someone, literally the hands of someone who's maybe using a backpack sprayer at a school, as in the case of the first plaintiff, or around his property in the case of the second plaintiff, not being warned about wearing gloves sufficiently, not being warned about headgear, wearing a mask and so forth. Monsanto once ran an ad showing someone getting into a taxi cab and then sort of remembering at the last minute he had a weed problem in his driveway, reaching out of the taxi cab window and spritzing the weed in his driveway, and then presumably driving off with the little container of Roundup to the airport. This kind of casual treatment of this substance in the context of secret documents that only came out in the course of this investigation by the plaintiff's lawyers. And this often happens. This is really key. What the federal agencies are told, and this was true of PCBs that are in all of us and have finally been banned. The chemicals used the nonstick chemicals used to make Teflon or Scotchgard. Story after story, what the companies knew and when they knew it, and what they told the government for regulatory purposes is very different than what they actually understood to be the case. That is true in Roundup. And now Monsanto Bayer faces thousands of plaintiffs who have this same problem. I'm given to understand most of those plaintiffs, interestingly enough, have used this around the home or in occupations other than farming.
Yeah.
So a double irony, right? So it's not the big spray rigs and the farmers necessarily that are coming forward with the litigation because they don't have the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Secondly, it's not because of the spraying necessarily of GMO tolerant crops that causes most of the human dietary exposure to this substance. So we thought we knew a lot about this chemistry and about its use. We're getting some real surprises just this year, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on the company to do something about it, and they're going to have to pay a lot of money.
You know, in California, Prop 65 called for, warning labels on Roundup when it's sold to consumers, and the company has fought hard against that.
Yes.
But they may be begging for warning labels soon, just like the tobacco industry, which now gets some protection from its warning labels from lawsuits, because at least the consumer is informed that this is dangerous and you use it at your own risk. I tend to think that I have a lot of tolerance for people to make informed choices that may not be in their own best interests, rather than regulating and telling them what they can and can't do. But my goodness, we should be given the truth. When the company knows that its products can kill, we should have that information so we can at least use them safely if we want to use them at all, and not spray them on there's parents that are spraying them in front of their kids and all this kind of thing. For the consumer who does want to get rid of some weeds in their backyard, do you have any recommendations other than elbow grease?
Well, there's an irony here that, across all of the weed killers that are out there, Roundup doesn't have the worst profile in terms of harm. There are others that worry us a lot, that aren't used in the European Union, for example. Atrazine is something we're concerned about. That's a broadleaf weed killer. We worry about that. My best advice would be to try and deal with it with manual treatment, just mowing and selective removal of weeds. It can be a real pain. The property we live on in Northern California, we have a thistle problem that you can't believe. I go out every year and try and trim them down before they flower to at least stop them from proliferating. But I'm sympathetic with people who have that situation, and that's not my livelihood at stake. And this is where I want to point out that farmers are up against it. You get a weed infestation, and where your paycheck depends on your ability to deal with that. That's something I think we all need to understand and appreciate, and provide some support for. It doesn't mean we need to turn a blind eye to chemicals that end up in our food or water. That's where I think we all have to jointly conclude, farmers and consumers alike, that we need products that aren't defective. And I think that's what Roundup is. It's a defective product by the way it's being used. Atrazine likewise ending up in our drinking water. I think we just need to completely reinvent pest control, weed control. Organic is doing that, of course, and it's growing, but it's still pretty small. Less than 1% of the farmed land in the United States is certified organic. So we have a long way to go to expand organic's presence for public health purposes in the food supply and in the environment. And then also from an ecological standpoint, the footprint of organic is just still too small.
Yeah.
Even in California, we need to grow it.
Yeah. We have had some success, by the way, spraying weeds with a white vinegar water solution. And that seemed to kill them. And I
depending on the weed. That's right. And sometimes you have to spray it quite a few times, right?
Yeah, so, it's not a you know, I mean, sure, you could drop a nuclear bomb on there and the weeds would all be gone too, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that's right. I mean,
it's not worth it.
I use some more benign weed killers. I've tried it on my thistles, and you know, after I mow them down, this is just thistles. We're talking about one issue here. And if I spray the weed killer on after that, I have to usually do it at least 3 times to really get the plant, to get the new growth exposed to the weed killer. But anyway, yeah, it's a problem, and it's solvable. The other thing we have open space behind our house. They brought in goats.
Yeah, right.
And they're cleaning it up just fine.
There are solutions, you know, and I think necessity is the mother of invention. And unfortunately, Roundup has actually dominated the space, and billions of dollars have been spent on it. And that's made certain companies very rich, but we all are poorer because of it. I want to jump one more thing on the pesticide topic, which is I often say that there are a lot of studies that have shown us that eating fruits and vegetables is good for our health. Most of those studies were done on people who were eating commercially grown fruits and vegetables. And so I say if you're choosing between, you know, organic donuts and non-organic kale, you should still go for the kale if you're concerned.
Absolutely.
About your health. Curious if you agree with that. And then, you know, let's jump then to washing food, because a lot of people get, you know, maybe they really can't afford organic, but they still want to minimize their exposure to pesticides. And our research has shown, I'm curious if yours has as well, that baking soda water may be the most effective way to wash produce in terms of getting pesticides off. Do you have any tips on that?
You know, we haven't really looked at specific washing systems and components. So I can't comment on that, except to say even if you buy organic food, even if you buy from your local farmer's market, even if you pick it off your own tree, as we often do here in California, right? You should wash it before you eat it. But you know, the data that we use show that pesticides are in the flesh of fruit after it's been peeled and washed, as you would normally consume it. You know, an orange that's peeled, a banana that's peeled, or what have you. So we know that USDA looks at food consumption in that way, which is good. That's important. It should be as realistic as possible. But yeah, no question about it. We've always said that the risks of the pesticides in conventionally grown food, you know, it's easy to avoid them with our work, with our shopper's guide. But it's, you know, the risk of that is much less than you know, eating donuts and Twinkies or whatever else you might eat to get that sugar fix. Just stick with fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat plenty of them. The one thing I would say is the French study that came out earlier this year, I guess it was, that showed a very substantial reduction in risk. And it was a large study, tens of thousands of people, comparing organic versus conventional eaters. A very substantial reduction in cancer risk for those who ate organically. So it was looking at long-term exposure and pretty robust data on diet. Not perfect. It never is when it's you know, dietary recall kinds of approaches to collecting the information about food consumption. But still, as robust as we've seen, that's a landmark study, and that tells me that you know, once again, you're on the right track. If you want to avoid, you know, tangling with the sketchy ingredient or pesticide of the week, buy organic. And it's not perfect, but to the extent that you can, especially for the higher risk items, makes all the sense in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. We had a question. I'm not sure if this is one you'd want to answer, but Mary asked, with all the changes in light bulbs, I've heard LED is not healthy. Any comments on that? Have you done any research on that?
We do know that the early generation of compact fluorescent bulbs in many cases had lots of mercury in them. And so if you broke them, that could be the same kind of problem you'd have if you broke certain other conventional light bulbs or fluorescent bulbs. I don't know anything about, I assume that Mary's asking about the energy that emanates from LED bulbs, and that's not something we have looked into.
Yeah, I have not heard actually any. I know there are some people who talk about it, but I'll be honest, I've not read any studies that have led me to be concerned about LED lights from a radiation standpoint in terms of from a consumer standpoint, and they're obviously so much more efficient and so much more long lasting than previous light bulbs. And I think it's one of the breakthroughs actually that science has brought them to us. It's good for the planet, and it's good for energy bills, and it's we have them pretty much everywhere. But look, this is Mary's question still, right? Reminds us that a lot of the technologies that have come along very rapidly like that. I'll mention cell phones in that same category, where we look at some of the science and look at some of the decisions that have been made in Europe and Israel and other places where scientists have expressed concern about those technologies. Even the study by the National Toxicology Program here, it was an animal study, but revealed biological effects at exposures to cell phones, radiation levels that are not uncommon in people. Mary raises, once again, the point that until we study it, until we look, we can't be certain. So thank you for the question, Mary. Okay, you mentioned cell phones. I've got to go there, Ken.
Yeah.
Do you have a cell phone? If so, what precautions do you take to protect yourself from radiation danger?
Yeah, I do have a cell phone, and we're working on a wireless hub here. I try not to have that. I never have the cell phone up against my ear. I always use an earpiece, often a wired earpiece, but sometimes a Bluetooth earpiece. Our science suggests that the insult is much reduced there. There's actually information every time you buy a cell phone, if you read the super fine print, that says you shouldn't hold it right up against your ear. Well, what? that should be in the big print. Not you shouldn't have to have an electron microscope to read it.
Yeah.
So I think that this is an area that we're going to be learning more about. The 5G towers that communities are raising concerns about. Likewise, I just think this is an area where we need more independent research. The power of this industry, the manufacturers of the phones, the service providers, is immense. And so you're going up against a real giant in terms of the grip it has on the political process. And it's very difficult to find independent science, much less independent regulatory activity around it. We're working on it. We are officially concerned about the state of the science. We'd like more work to be done. And we have advice on our website about how you can reduce your exposure to some forms of this radiation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I also put my phone on airplane mode much of the time, including at night. And I keep it away from my body most of the time. And, certainly if I'm going to be on the phone on any kind of a call while I'm driving, I make sure to use a speakerphone system through the car and not have the phone right in front of me. Obviously, always be safe. But I think those are some useful tips, and we expose ourselves wantonly to cell phone radiation. And because it's one of these places where, because it's done all around us, we think it's normal. But, we may not know for generations what the impact is on Alzheimer's rates and dementia rates, what the impact is on who knows what conditions that could surface downstream.
Yeah,
so that's just it. It makes sense to be precautionary when you can with this stuff.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. Maureen asked about chemicals used in lawn care companies. She said, are they using chemicals that are bad or dangerous? If so, what can be used for lawns that are looking puny and have bare spots and weeds? Or do you have any recommendations for where to find out?
Well, it's a very good question from Maureen. Thank you for it. What I have noticed, we don't have a company working, directly for at our home now. But friends who do, there are a growing number of companies that really specialize in green, sustainable, lawn care and property care around the country. It's a rapidly growing business. My first advice would be to look to companies that feature that, as opposed to companies that say we use everything according to government standards and everything we use is approved by President Trump's EPA.
Right.
I think those companies are expanding out there, and then talk to them about what they do that's different, what kinds of chemicals they use. I bet they're doing, if they're doing weed control on a property or on a lawn, you can bet they're using the much more benign and targeted weed control technologies, chemicals that are out there, or they're pulling them manually. They're probably using organic fertilizer. You can still use too much of that and cause runoff problems downstream. But there are more and more options out there, and people are making money in that business by learning about them and offering them to consumers.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. By the way, if people who might come and help you out around the home cleaning, we're fortunate to have someone come in every few weeks to help us with that. And they specialize in using clean home cleaning products. So again, and thanks to questions like Maureen's and millions of consumers like her, the signal is being sent to the service economy and to the goods economy that we want something different, and it's starting to happen.
Yeah. We're almost out of time. I want to just breeze through a couple of questions. Maureen also asked, is it bad to freeze foods in plastic containers? And I would just say, we actually use glass with plastic snap-on lids in the freezer. You just have to remember food expands when it freezes. So don't fill it all the way up. Leave some headroom. If you leave a ½ inch or so on top, then there's room for it to grow upwards. Because plastic is a little bit more flexible and glass is not. But
That's
if you
right.
keep that in mind, we haven't had anything break, and you can see right through the glass, and it seems to work just fine.
And if you do use plastic, if you decide that that's what you want to bag something, it's easier to do that, or you don't have room for a lot of glass in your freezer. Just make sure the food is cool, at least room temperature, before you put it in, and then freeze it as quickly as you can when you do that. Again, I wish I could tell you I had experimental data to tell you that makes a difference. I'm just trying to apply a little common sense from my background in chemistry. Stay away from acidic foods, but of course we all loved storing tomato sauce in plastic bags, right? We'd make it, and then, you'd have the leftover, you'd pour it in from the hot pot right into the bag. That seemed so smart and simple at the time, but I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. There's a few holdouts. I still freeze lemon juice in little plastic bags, and it's just helpful. But I figure, you know what, you don't want to make the perfect into the enemy of the good. If you can cut out 95% of your exposure and make the last 5% be the things that really make your life easier, then you're still making a pretty good step.
And Ocean, that reminds me of a really important sort of overall reminder. We've seen consumer surveys where people feel that if they're not completely organic, why bother with any of it? And the exact opposite should be the case. You should start where you can, plausibly, comfortably start, and work from there. It's like diet. It's like exercise. It's like any habit, like meditation. You don't want to start in a monastery as a vegan. if you've got a day job, 2 kids in school, and a busy life, probably is not going to work. But you can make a huge difference, I think, in your daily exposures and your well-being by just, one by one taking these things on. Give yourself some victories, give yourself some early, easy wins, and build on that. So you don't have to be fully organic to be, fully green and sustainable and compliant. Go on, start on the journey. That will pull your friends along with you. It'll pull the marketplace along with you, much, much more likely than that everyone's going to become perfect overnight. Perfect is the enemy of the good.
Yes, thank you for that. I've got to get to one last question, and then we'll
Sure.
wrap up this segment of our time here. Shauna asked about mold toxicity. She's dealing with a bunch of different health issues, fatigue and Epstein. Yeah, she's just curious whether you think that mold toxicity is an issue people should be looking at, and if so, do you know of any tests to determine if it's a factor?
It's a very big deal in the built environment, especially. You know, all I can say is it is something to be taken seriously. Usually it requires some professional assistance to find out the location of the mold mold and how to deal with it. Sometimes it can be quite expensive. You know, the mold can be in the walls of your home if there's been a situation that allowed it to grow. The environmental conditions are right. It's not something to be taken lightly if you have that allergy and it's activated. You're going to the doctor for treatment, or it's complicating other conditions you may have. Absolutely, this is the real deal. Well recognized across the health profession. There's really no dispute about that some people are more vulnerable, and that mold occurs in places we wouldn't have thought of being concerned about before.
Yeah, we recently were preparing to move into a new home, and we got some testing done. There are companies that can actually do mold testing, and they'll test sample spots throughout the house, and then they'll compare that. They'll analyze the types of molds they found and which ones are dangerous. Not all molds are dangerous to human health. And then they'll compare it to what's naturally in the environment, because lo and behold, there's mold in the air outside too.
Absolutely.
But if you've got higher levels inside, then that's a point of concern. And then they gave some recommendations, and it was very helpful to us. And you know, we followed their recommendations. One of their recommendations was to hire them for a lot of money to fix it, and we ended up hiring a contractor instead and saving a lot of money. But we got a lot of insight from that process. So it is something to look at. And you know, some molds are obvious. You see a big black splotch on the wall, but other times it may be just in the air and it's totally invisible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not having an impact. So it is something to look at, especially in moisture climates.
Yeah, good question though.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ken, you've been so generous with your time and your wisdom, and you are so generous. I want to thank you and the 65 team members at Environmental Working Group for your leadership and understanding the science and helping us apply it to protect human health and the future of life on this planet. We are so grateful to you for this and for your time today in this action hour.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. I'll come back anytime, and give your dad my warmest regards.
I so will. And so we're going to let Ken go now with our tremendous gratitude. And if you are interested in taking this further and kind of landing the plane in taking action in your life so you can get results and make this all happen, please do go ahead and stay on with us. Ken, thanks so much again.
My pleasure.
I want to tell you more about Whole Life Club. WHOLE is an acronym. It stands for Welcoming Healthy Organic Lifestyle Empowerment. And Whole Life Club is an ongoing membership community with 3 central programs. One is recipes, the second is wisdom, and the third is community. Recipes means you get 5 new fabulous whole foods, plant-powered recipes every week. Wisdom means you learn from action hours like this, a weekly action of the week video that I produce, which is just a few minutes with a simple action step you can take, action checklists, resources, further reading to learn more, and lots of great resources to help you understand the leading edge of science. And then community. We have an incredible community with thousands of members now who are engaging, sharing hopes, dreams, struggles, values, visions, questions, and helping each other apply healthy eating in their life. Whole Life Club has been going for about 6 months now, and the response has been incredible. People are losing weight. People are making progress with their health goals. People are having an easier time connecting with friends and family. They're more informed. Every month, we've got a theme in Whole Life Club. For example, we've had a month where we focus on heart health. With this month, we're focusing on toxins and how to make a toxin-free home and environment. We focused on cancer and eating to beat cancer and get healthy in every cell. We focused on friends and family and community around the holidays. And so every month we got a theme, and we have resources and tools to help you make progress in that direction. It's all about helping you get results. Because I don't know if you've experienced this, but a lot of times you attend a conference, you participate in an action hour, you read a book, you get inspired, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then eventually life gets in the way, habits get in the way, and you wind up kind of right back where you started. Whole Life Club is about solving that problem. So you get steady traction to get results so you can keep moving forward. Now, normally throughout the year, Whole Life Club it's a membership program, and it sells for $29 a month, or you can jump in and get an annual price if you pay all at once of $247. But on our action hour days, like today, it goes on sale. So today until midnight, you can jump in for just $19 a month or $147 for a year. So if you're interested in taking this further, in taking this forward, in landing this plane, in getting sustained traction and results in your life, then I want to invite you to take that step with us. Go ahead and click the button and learn more and sign up today while the price is on sale, and join in this community, and we will welcome you and work with you and celebrate you and join with you in helping you get the results long term. You know, at the end of the day, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, they do not care a heck of a lot how many action hours you attend, how many books you read, how many podcasts you listen to, or how much you know, but they do care what you eat. They care how you live. And so Whole Life Club is about helping you put the latest learnings of science into action so you can get results in your life. So if that sounds good to you, then I want to invite you to go ahead and join us. And I want to thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your partnership in this food revolution. Thank you for all the questions you ask, all the choices you make to help bring your life choices into alignment with your values, with who you are, with your integrity, with what you want for your life and for your planet. Step by step, one bite at a time, one choice at a time, we're changing the world, and we're changing it together. So thank you again for joining us here today, and thank you for all your ways that you take a stand for healthy people and a healthy planet. I wish you a beautiful day. Hope to see you in Whole Life Club, and we will be in touch. Blessings.